Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Wednesday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. Also, tell a friend. Today is the 2-year anniversary show of the Big Red Zone. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to break down week 1 of the NFL, talk about the first Patriots game, first game from Mac, and then we're going to talk a little Red Sox. All that and more in this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
2 years of Big Red. He did it. Two trips
did
around
it.
the sun.
We did it.
Around the sun.
It's unbelievable. 2 years. Who would have thunking, huh? Who would have thunking?
730 days later, here he is.
And it's 1 year for Danny Football.
Is that it true? Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Maybe it's like a week short of because you came on 2 weeks after the year episode.
Okay, all right. So
So
that would have been news to me. I was like, wait, what?
But it's about a year.
About
It's almost a year.
close
We can
to it.
celebrate the year. We'll round
Well,
it
I'll
all
take
together.
I'll take it.
I know it's crazy to think it's the 2-year anniversary of Big Red Zone. And this year flew by. The last 2 years flew by, but this one especially. I know we've done a lot of these reminiscent train. You know, when John left, we talked a lot about his start and a lot of his travel through the show. But I'm interested, and I think the listeners would be interested. Danny Football's start into the show and how we've already kind of gone over how the show was formed, but I think bringing Danny Football into the show and getting his 2 cents on how it, I think they would love to hear how you started into the show.
It was, we started as a guest, much like John. Humble beginnings with the classic Jarrett Stidham. I'll drive him to the airport myself. The hot Andy Dalton takes, threw in the college hockey here and there. I was on the pre-lockdown episode. That was fun. Came back. We had the couple in-studio returns when I went full-time. And we've been plugging away ever since. Almost a year now. Crazy to think, but we survived a whole pandemic. Celtics have disappointed us. The Patriots have disappointed us, but we're slowly getting there, dude. It's been a good year, I'd say.
We made it through 2 disappointing Celtics finishes, one disappointing Patriots season. And it's been a fun
Wouldn't trade
year.
it for anything, my man.
When
It's
2
been a
fantasy football drafts.
hell of a ride.
What are some of your? Because I'm interested here. What are some of your fond memories of? I know you mentioned a couple. Like, if you had to pick one, what was your fond memory of the 2-year skit?
I'd say year one was definitely the Derrick Henry Wildcat call. I was a big fan of that.
Oh, that was even on the show. That was just,
So I'm talking like year one, just when it was you and James. That would be the Derrick Henry Wildcat call because it was like verbatim what I was thinking when I was watching. It was like. I was like, he's lined up in the backfield. It's a Wildcat. And then he fucking scores. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it was just perfect to hear it in real time. And then second year, more my year. I'd go with maybe, I want to say like the Celtics run. That was kind of fun, but again, they disappointed us. I'd say a good highlight was doing like the all-time series with John and, we dabbled a little bit in WWE, stuff like that. So getting a little more versatile. But I think when we did the wrestling all time, that was probably a highlight.
Yeah, that was definitely. And we did a few all-time drafts this year. We did the wrestling was definitely a height. That was definitely a top memory. When we had Jared on for the first time, Jared's first appearance, we did the all-time reality show draft, which we have a little montage. That's a little bit of that stuff's in there. And there was some funny moments from that. And we the Thanksgiving one when
Kevin's
we did
a big one for me. I'll say Kevin too.
Kevin was a fun. I mean,
that was a really fun episode.
All the guests were great this season and past season, but this season specifically looking at it. But Kevin was just like, because it was awesome. It was just
that was kind of just like put the car in drive and let it go.
Yeah, and it was the funny thing is we didn't do a traditional start to the show because it was just he was
He was
talking for like
hit the
20
ground
minutes. And we're
running.
like,
He was
just
just
hit the
like,
record
let's just
button.
let it run.
Yeah. We didn't even get it. I remember because I looked through that episode when getting prepared for this show, and it was funny because it just starts with him. We have the theme music, and it's just him in the middle of a story, just telling
One of his dunk, probably the dunk story at that
the
point.
dunk story. Yeah. So he was awesome. Obviously, Jared, we've had a great time with. We had Jack. Ame finally made his appearance this season on an actual episode. Joey Walsh was a great one. Getty was a great guest. When we got to do our brackets, we finally got to do our March Madness bracket. I remember when we started the podcast, James and I, one thing I said day one I was looking forward to was the first day of like whenever brackets come out, we were going to do a bracket episode. And then it ended up getting canceled because of COVID. So I was happy we finally got to do the March Madness episode this year. And then obviously, like I said, the all-time series, the Thanksgiving all-time.
Oh my
that was
god,
a fun one.
the food one.
The
Holy
food
shit!
What was
Cranberry sauce was
cranberry
the dark horse.
sauce? Cranberry sauce was
The dark horse.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. A lot of great memories. I wish we could do more in studio stuff. I know like mid-year, we had to switch back to Zoom, but it was fun being in studio with you and John when we were in here. I was looking at some of those first couple
You got
episodes.
that one KC game in, that was fun.
The KC game, the Brian Hoyer sack.
The Brian.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good year. We had a lot of big things happen. I think that's a good segue. Let's play this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast. My thanks to Danny Football and Jared Haben for joining this week. Have a great week, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone, and we're here to talk to you. Big Red here. Do the New England Patriots want to move on from Tom Brady?
Again, we've said this with the NFL, and I'm going to say this with the NBA. Consistency matters.
Get out of here, dude. He's a clown.
He's jealous.
He's an angry little man. He's terrible. I hate Nick Wright. Joey Chestnut is probably the best athlete in sports. He has the most championships out of anyone.
That's not much power at all.
Let's golf. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. That concludes the Babyface Challenge. Now for the results. Pro golfer Andy. Welcome to the podcast. It's the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. I'm joined today by guest host Danny Football.
What up?
Producer John is here.
Pew, pew, pew.
And we are coming here for season 3 of the Big Red Zone. As you can see, it's a total new studio set up here.
I didn't even notice.
You didn't even notice?
Didn't even notice we're in a new place.
No way.
That's crazy.
I feel like a AAA pitcher getting called into the show.
He's going to go to a contender.
That's the hot take hi-hat. Sad Tom drum.
The reluctant take drum.
The guest, no longer guest host, the official co-host of the Big Red Zone, Danny Football.
In
is
Sharpie.
Here.
Write it in Sharpie.
Right in. There's a picture
All
up
over
behind.
it.
That's an interesting second round.
Steve, you say that every time, and I have a banger team. You do this every time.
Today, we decided to honor you, and we're going to do the all-time reality show draft.
Again, because competition shows, they really is something that I can watch. Big Brother.
Oh no!
That's a great show right there.
Oh, bad pick.
That's
And the
that
challenge.
You just took him out.
one. Are you serious? Are you a
Masked Singer
challenge
was not a
fan?
good pick.
Not a
Yeah,
fan.
yeah.
I'm pandering now, Big Red.
I'm going Shark Tank.
Oh, you motherfucker.
I'll trade you Shark Tank for Big Brother right now.
I can have my daughter come check you out. Brother, come here. What are you so handsome these guys are?
I never knew that. That you were a slam dunk champion.
Yeah, I was
Boston.
in 8 slam dunk contests in my life, and I won 7 out of 8.
Great to have John in the studio. See you later.
Has been real fun, fellas. All right.
See you later.
But if I ever wanted to get meta, producer John was right there.
Wow, dude. Wow. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
You just got your own like WWE Hall of Fame video package right there, my man.
I've never seen John speechless before in my life. He's usually got something to say. We do make you look good, John. Again, many thanks to the great producer John for his tutelage.
Tip the cap.
Tip the cap to the.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. Love you, Danny.
The RZ will always be my home.
Welcome back to year 2 of the Big Red Zone Fantasy Draft.
It was either him or, Austin Eckler maybe, and then I was like Jonathan Taylor or Aaron Jones. I'm like, oh, God, like I could see all of them like blowing out a knee week 3.
I think you just cursed 3 teams at once.
Good.
If Austin Eckler blows out his ACL, I'm just going to have to find you and kill you.
That's fine.
This one's dedicated to my good friend James.
You do this to me twice in a row, you bastard.
Dude, James, you said it the other night too. He did say it the other night. He goes, James is gonna be pissed at me.
I was saying Moran. I got Kyler and Jameis.
Right
Yeah.
now, Nancy Kerrigan.
Hey, why don't I just give you Austin Eckler for Jameis Winston?
We had BB19, Big Brother 19 house guest Kevin. Jared Haben from The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise is here. Steve from Small State Big Takes is here. Matt Gedman is here. Joey Walsh, former Brockton Rocks pitcher and BC Eagle. This week we have Jack Morano, Dante from Lumberland, and Tommy Points Podcast is here. Pro golfer A-May and the champion of the Big Red Zone Fantasy Football League is here. Burgers.
Beef fries.
Beef fries. I knew it was fried.
7. Fried.
Oh, fried.
Not fries.
Burgers. I'm hungry.
Last question. Rounding third.
Oh no, he's headed for home.
Comes from Matt Joseph Celia.
I mean, I think
Joseph Celia comes with sluggers. What can
he
we
does.
say?
He's stepping up his game. Have a great week, everyone.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. That's right. Tell a friend.
Should have done a whole compilation of just
I should have done
Joseph Celia.
I should have just done all of his. I should. Well, maybe we'll do a tribute video to Joseph.
We can do that.
Celia.
Yeah, we'll circle back for that.
So I don't think that we're gonna probably just splice that video in, but I don't think Danny Football has seen the video yet. This was the first time I'm seeing it. So I wish there was a way to splice that in, but there's no way. So just thoughts. Looking back on the video, what do you think? There was some good memories in there.
I was just about to say good memories. It's good to kind of see some of the things that we even missed when we were talking earlier. Just like Dante was a great guest.
Steve
was a great guest. Just a couple of the guests that we may have missed, and then like the reality show draft was a good one. The producer John send off was huge. So
yeah,
good to kind of like we try to remember as much as we can, but then there's just some things that fall through the cracks. But that's what we have all the videos for.
And also, I think the other thing is like major is I love the people's topic because that's like from the viewers and the listeners,
right?
And we have to shout out our man Joseph _Celia
every day, the Lou
Without a
Gehrig of the show.
He is the number one Big Red Zone fan. If we can make a T-shirt for him, I would definitely want to get Joseph _Celia a T-shirt. Yeah, but I look at this. Look at where it froze on Danny Football. Look at that. Just the
boys. Just the boys having a time.
I may set that as my background. Don't tell Mrs. Big Red. Yeah, I was. It's been fun. As in the wise words of producer John, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and thank you to everyone that came on the show over the last 2 years. Going way back to season 1, as well as all the listeners, all the people's topic people, Joseph _Celia, and of course the one and only Danny Football.
Horns down, baby. We did it.
So I guess here's to another year, huh?
Do it again.
Hey.
Let's run it. Let's run it back.
Cheers. Cheers
Cheers.
to another year. Well, I can't think of a better way to start off the season. It's the first the new year. It's the first one of season 4, Danny Football Weekend Recap. It's the Weekend Recap. So for Weekend Recap, we pick 3 games. One of them will be the Pats game. But we picked 3 games that we're going to go over and, some of the best games that we saw all week. For the first game, I'll start off. I think we got to start with talking about the Bucs-Cowboys game. That was an unbelievable
Opening
game.
night, baby. Opening night.
Probably the best opening night football game I have seen in a long time.
That I can remember, definitely.
That I can remember,
mean,
yeah.
Exactly. It was looking like it was going to be Bucs early, but the Cowboys made that a hell of a game.
It was unbelievable. Main takeaway that I got, that the best part of that game was seeing that Dak looks like 100% healthy.
I was shocked. I was shocked how good he looked.
Yeah, I drafted him in a few leagues, and I got to be honest with you, I was nervous. I was very nervous that I took him to see how he was going to react. He looked even better than before his injury. He looked so good, and I'm happy to see it. It didn't, they didn't come out on top, but that's not on Dak. He made some unbelievable plays. The one pick he threw wasn't even on him. Who was that? CD? It was CD that went through his hands.
Yeah.
Went right through his hands. He's got to catch that. So really, I won't say that just for Dak. Brady also, his 2 picks were, is what it is. I wouldn't worry about those. But I think both quarterbacks looked phenomenal. It was exciting. It came down to the wire. No defense whatsoever.
Yeah, defense. Well, we shouldn't say that the takeaways were huge to get the Cowboys back in the game, but as far as preventing points were not prevented.
I think these 2 teams, I think Dak said it best, which I like. He said, I'll see you again. I think these teams could see each other again. I think they're going to be, those are 2 teams that are going to be in it. And we've talked about it last week when we predicted the Super Bowl. All of us had the Bucs going deep in the, either Super Bowl or losing in the, the finals or whatever, conference finals, whatever. So I just can't believe it. Tom looks like he better than he did in his 20s.
I mean, speaking of Tom in his 20s, I mean, how long are we going to just keep handing Tom Brady 90 seconds with the game on the line and expecting something different than a game-winning drive?
Yeah.
It's, the definition of insanity. The Cowboys think they have the game won. You can't leave him that much time. We know what happens when he has that much time.
Everyone and their mother saw when there was a minute and a half left on the clock, the Bucs were going to win that game. Like there's no, even I think the Cowboys knew that. They looked up and said, you know what, we're giving Tom, all he has to do is get a field goal. Are you kidding me?
Too easy.
He's got to go, what, 30, 40 yards in a minute and a half? Come on now. That's ridiculous. The other big thing I saw, which I said it, and I wish I followed my own advice. I didn't follow my own advice. Antonio Brown, if you're looking for fantasy football people, Antonio Brown will be the steal of the draft.
AB was huge, man. AB was huge. It was a little glimpse of what we could have had in New England if we didn't ship him out.
Yeah. Don't. Let's stay positive, Danny Football. It's a 2-year show.
We're gonna get positive. Don't worry, we're gonna get positive later.
He looks phenomenal. Gronk looked great. And I had him on my bench in a lot of leagues, and I'm really hesitant to put him in because I know next week he's going to get 2 points. I think this team, they had the rust year, the beginning to kind of get all used to working with each other. I think that's done, and I think this offense is going to be working on all cylinders. The only thing is it's going to be different people. If I know we talk a lot about fantasy football, I think it's going to be a different person every week. I think, Mike Evans didn't do much this game. I think he could be involved a little more.
Yeah.
I
think as far as the offense goes, they definitely have enough weapons that if it's not an AB week, it'll be a Gronk week. If it's not a Gronk week, it'll be an Evans week or a Godwin week. I think the biggest problem they're going to have this season is their defense. I mean, it was unfortunate that their corner, I don't want to try to pronounce his name. It's unfortunate that their corner broke his arm first series of the game. That's just, it's an unfortunate injury. Your starting quarter breaks his arm and then Dak bullies his replacement for the rest of the way. I couldn't tell you his name either, but it was number 35 on the Bucks. Every single time, and whether it was CD or Cooper or Gallup, just darts at all day long at that kid. So it's going to be a question mark is if the Cowboys are going to get into these shootouts, are they going to be able to put up more points than their defense gives up? So they're definitely going to win games, but I thought their defense looked a lot worse than we were expecting.
Yeah, and I think also the Bucks also were missing like either a safety or a corner pregame, weren't they? Didn't they?
I think so. Yeah. I think it was Whitehead or something like that.
Whitehead was out. Yeah, Whitehead was in street clothes, and then there was another guy that was hurt. It might have been the guy that got hurt in the first possession, but so their defense, their secondary is pretty banged up, and Dak did expose them. He took full advantage of it. So I guess both teams have incredible offenses. So I think they're going to be an incredible quarterback. So I think they're going to be able to bail the defense out. But I mean, you're going to get into these situations where they play each other. Bucks are going to have to play a KC or, something like that when it comes down to it. And it's just they got to tighten up the defense, which I think they will. The Bucks defense, remember last year, was horrible in the beginning of the year.
That's a good point. Slow start, and then they turned it on.
Yeah, so I think both teams are going to kind of even out. I think the Cowboys have a little bit of an easier road because they play in the worst division in football in the United States of America. Not even the NFL, the worst division of all football in the United States of America. So I think they're going to be okay, but they do need to figure out those question marks on the defensive side of the ball.
I agree.
Let's move on to the Steelers-Bills game. Steelers edge out a win over the Bills, which I was pretty shocked about that. About this, the Bills. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think the Bills looked as sharp as they normally did. I was expecting them to come in and kind of blow the doors off. It wasn't. Not to say it was it wasn't great. It wasn't a good game. I mean, they had a blocked punt for a touchdown, which kind of got the game away from them. A couple turnovers here and there, but I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that this Bills team didn't play better.
I think they overlooked the Steelers, to be honest. I don't know if, it was too many. The Steelers are done. The demise of the Steelers takes from last season after they got trounced by the Browns in the playoffs and kind of limped in. So my kind of point of view was the Bills are coming off an AFC championship. They're flying high. And I think they overlooked them. I don't think they gave enough respect to Big Ben. I don't think they gave enough respect to the weapons they still have on that team. And one block punt, special teams is all it takes. So Josh Allen tastes a little bit of defeat in week 1. He'll definitely bounce back, but I think it was a case of the Bills kind of overlooking the Steelers. The Steelers surprising us. I didn't think they were going to be this good either. They come in, blow the doors off the Bills. They get the block punt. They get the win. And now all of a sudden they're 1-0. They're looking to take that AFC North crown back.
And I don't even think it was so much the Steelers offense. I think Ben only threw 188 yards and a touchdown. He showed his age. Like, he looked old. I think it was just the Steelers defense. Like, the Steelers they're kind of like the opposite of what we talked about with the Cowboys. I think their defense is going to win them a bunch of games because they're just lights out. They're very good. They're special teams and defense. And, Najee Harris had a subpar first game.
He played every snap though. So there's
true.
There's still room to improve there.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't get much from the running game. The passing game, like I said, wasn't as strong as not thought, I guess, because I didn't think they were going to be that great. But when you got an offense with Najee Harris, Juju, Claypool, Deontay Johnson, I think that's pretty much it. But you got all those guys. You think you could air out the ball a little bit, but their defense got it done. TJ Watt that was a question mark. He's no doubt a great player, but you didn't know how he was going to play after he just got that massive extension.
Right.
We see that with a lot of players. They take that little bit of a skid after they sign the big extension. But I think he had 2 sacks in that game, right? Didn't he have 2 sacks? Yeah, 2 sacks in that for opening game. So, all signs point that he's playing well. And, I think the Steelers team is going to be I think they could be a sneaky team. I don't think they're going to win it, but that defense can hold their own with anyone.
Defense can get them as far as they need to get. If they can still put some points on the board, that defense will get them where they need to be. The Bills is definitely a disappointing loss.
Yeah, I think also they lost that game too because there's a lot of penalties on the Bills, a lot of holding calls. Josh Allen would scamper out for 15, 20 yards. It would come back on a holding call. Now, instead of being first and 10 at the 50, now you're at 2nd and 20 at your own 20 or whatever. Do the math. I don't know what it is, but you know what I mean? It's penalties. They got to clean it up. Turnovers, taking care of the football. A lot of what the Patriots did. That's a lot of
true.
A lot of what the Patriots did, and I think they'll be fine.
Is this how we want to segue to the Pats game?
Oh man, 2 years in Danny football, an unbelievable segue.
There we go. There we go.
Let's start it. We all said this was a winning game. You had to win this game as the Patriots, but let's stay on the positive for a second, Danny football. Let's stay with it, and then we'll get to a little bit of the constructive criticism part. Mac Jones looked phenomenal.
1,000%.
I think if there was any doubt in your mind about is Mac Jones the guy or is it too early for Mac, I think those worries were kind of calmed, like they were kind of put at ease because he looked comfortable. He looked more and more comfortable as the game went on. He looked like a leader. He made the right plays. He made some unbelievable throws. He throws a good football. And I just think Mac Jones was the shining star of that game. Even though there was a loss and they only put up 16 points.
No, I definitely agree. I liked his composure. I thought they were kind of slow with getting him out of the gate in the first quarter, but they ramped him up towards the end. They were letting him kind of throw loose at the end. But it was good to see, he had the incomplete pass that almost became a backwards lateral that could have turned into a turnover, but bounced back from there, hit some good passes, got his first career touchdown out of the way, so that's always good. I definitely liked the way he looked. Huge upgrade over Cam Newton, I thought, especially towards the tail end of last year. So I think he's only going to get better. I definitely don't blame him for the loss. He played a game good enough to win, so that's all I really cared about. So.
And on the touchdown play, I love that he didn't want the football. And what he said after the game, where he's like, "Why would I want the football? It didn't mean anything. We didn't win the game. It was just another touchdown. I got to throw more touchdowns." So I love the mentality. I think he's in the best sense of the word. I think he's a psycho. I think he just wants to he's the most competitive person.
He wants to win, dude. He wants to win. And you can see it on that late drive that he wanted to win. He was punching it down the field. He was ready to go.
So where do you think the blame of the pie, where do you think this leads on?
I think the majority has to go to the fumbles. The fumbles, 2 takeaways kills you.
Yeah.
Especially with about 3 minutes left. You're in the red zone. You're pretty much marching down the field, ready to put it away. And then it's just gut wrenching to just give that ball up. You blow your 3 timeouts. That's probably my next one. I'm going to say fumbles. Time management at the end was huge. You burn all 3 of your timeouts leading up to a 3rd and 1 before the 2-minute warning. And then the game's on ice. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'd say fumbles, the time management at the end. Penalties was big too. There were a couple of big conversions that we made that got called back. We had a couple big plays that got called back. You got to clean that up. I felt like it was a typical week 1 for a rookie QB. I mean, a couple of mistakes. You had your fumbles sprinkled in there with the penalties. And then, time management, that's how you learn. So I thought it was a game we definitely should have won. But I feel good going into next week knowing that we're going to clean all that up.
Yeah. I think I had the same thing. Fumbles and penalties were big. The one fumble in the beginning of the game didn't lead to anything. So, like, when you're looking at it, the fumbles, I guess, weren't as. I think they were a problem, especially when you fumble at the last 5 minutes to go. Like, that's
Game on the line, pretty much, and you gave it up.
And I think it's too bad because, other than that, I think Damian Harris had an unbelievable
100-yard day. Can't ask for more than that.
23 carries, 100 yards. I mean, but it's outshined by his fumbles.
Right.
So, like, that's a tough hit. I mean, Jacoby Myers, dropped a bad one, but Jacoby Myers, same thing. He had 6 catches for 44 yards. Like, can't ask much more. 6 catches. He was a security blanket.
No, there were good contributions from everyone. They were definitely spread the ball around.
I agree. The time management and coaching decisions at the end, or throughout the game, were just. I didn't get it. Mac Jones looked really good throwing the football, and I get you don't want to, you want to ease your rookie in, I guess, or get his feet wet, but he threw the ball 39 times. I think he could have thrown it 10, 15 more times, especially on that final drive. He was looking good.
I was going to say that final drive definitely could have sprinkled in some more passes, and I would have liked to see some more passes on his first drive.
Right. The first 7 plays were runs.
Yeah.
In that last play that the fumble happened on, it was 2nd and 7. Let him air it out a little bit. Let's see if we can hit James White with a little. They were working well with the dink and dunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't run your normal check down and just call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, hit a tight end, hit one of your tight ends like 5 yards out.
There you go.
Hit James White a few yards out. Like it's nothing like I'm not saying bomb it down the field, but you gotta be more aggressive. And that was my other point. I think they got to be more aggressive in the red zone. I think and that's on Josh. I think Josh has to trust the rookie. He may throw a couple picks, but I think they're settling too much for field goals. I think they need to try to put some, when they get in the red zone, let Mac throw a couple balls into the end zone. Let him get his feet wet. Let him throw a couple, see if we can score. You have a good quarterback back there. He threw 281 yards in a touchdown. Like he had a really great day. Best of the rookies, all the rookie quarterbacks.
I'm really hoping this kind of gives them the green light to cut him loose next week.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, one thing that's different, I've never seen a Patriots running back in the recent year. I've never seen a Patriots running back get 23 carries and 100 yards.
That was huge. A big running day. I think it's going to be more of a split offense that we're seeing.
It's when I say I've never seen a bell cow in a Patriots uniform. So
it's going to be a balanced offense. The defense, for the most part, was solid. If you really break it down, the Dolphins' 2 touchdown drives were the opening drive in the first quarter, and it was the opening drive straight out of the half. So if you break it down, the Dolphins were able to script out those couple drives. That your first possession, first game of the season, we're going to do these 10 plays, end zone. Same thing. Going to halftime, readjust. We're going to do these 10 plays, end zone. And that was pretty much it. Other than that, we held them. Yeah. So I'm not too concerned about the defense. It'll remain to be seen what we look like against the likes of a Tampa Bay when they have weapons upon weapons upon weapons. And the Dolphins, you really only had to worry about Devontae Parker. But I will say Waddle had a good game.
Waddle had a good first day. He did better than I thought he was going to do.
So I'm not too worried about the defense. Offense needs to clean it up a little bit. But I think it was a good week 1 to learn from. So I'm still confident going forward. This definitely wasn't like a crushing loss.
Oh, I'm definitely confident. Like I said, like after a loss, usually you're feeling like if this was Cam Newton, I feel like we'd all be more like say put Mac in.
Right.
I will say one thing on the defense is you're right. It came out probably with scripted drives. This was the first time since all of the controversy went down where I am starting to see how much of an impact Gilmore is going to make on this defense. I think not that we took it for granted because we knew how good he was, but man, they're going to hurt. That secondary's hurting without Gilmore. And Jared mentioned it. He said, he did call it. I didn't think it was going to be that big of an issue. I thought, JC Jackson did pretty good and Jones did okay. But I just think
it's nothing compared to a former defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Multiple time,
When you put him on their bet, like he goes on Devontae Parker, he's probably not going to touch the ball.
Right.
So
You completely take away a weapon with Stephon Gilmore.
So I think that is going to be a serious hit for the first 6 weeks, and I'm hoping
Gotta tread water, baby. Gotta win with the guys you got.
I'm hoping that they can figure out that contract dispute. This is huge for Stephon Gilmore and his contract.
I know.
Because
I
they
know.
said, look, you guys need me. Sign me to a long deal. So
It's a good
Bill
point.
probably doesn't care. But like I said, we both said I feel confident going forward. You know, as good as you can feel after a loss. Mac Jones looked great. I'm excited for Mac in the future, and I think next week is when you're going to be the breakout performance for Mac Jones.
1,000%. 1,000%. It's gonna be a big Mac week.
So, I think looking forward, let's go to. I think we can segue to our next week, our next segment, picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So for picks of the week, we each pick a game, like we said. Right now, Danny Football, he may be the king of. He should change his name to Danny Basketball, because he is the king of basketball. There's no denying that. But I don't know. I feel I'm off to 1-0. It's still early. Danny Football got the Bills.
Could not be earlier.
Could not be any earlier, except if we were last week. So what do you got for this week's picks of the week? Get back.
I'm going Browns over Texans. Browns put together a great 3-quarter game against the Chiefs, and then reverted to the Browns of old, choked it away, let Pat Mahomes get a freebie on night 1. But I liked what I saw for the most part. Obviously, the ending wasn't too great, but Browns look good. Texans had a good win over the Jaguars, but I think they're kind of gonna come back down to earth a little bit. So I'm gonna go Browns over Texans. See if I can't get myself to 500 here.
What an absolute choke job that was. The Browns against the Chiefs.
Pretty bad. Do you expect anything less?
Dude, that last throw from Baker was absolutely horrible. I love Baker.
He had at least 7 yards of daylight in front of him. It was 1st and 10, 1 minute left. They still had a touchdown. Even if he scrambles for a couple yards and just slides, whether you clock it or take the timeout, it's still second and manageable, and you still have the chance to win the game. I don't know why he bothered tossing that ball.
And he was like outside the tackle box. Just throw it out of bounds.
He could have just got another. There's a million other things he could have done.
I don't know why he tried to force it in there. It was absolutely terrible.
He was feeling dangerous, baby.
He's a dangerous man. I'm going with, to get us on track, baby. I'm going Patriots over Jets.
There we go. I like that. Get that mojo going.
It's going to be the battle of the rookie quarterbacks. I will say Zach Wilson looked pretty good.
He looks pretty solid. I'm not going to take that away from him. He looks solid.
Better than Trevor Lawrence. I got to say, he looked a little better than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence had a rough day.
He did throw over 300 yards. He threw a quiet 300
yards. He had a
yards.
Jameis Winston stat line.
Yeah. He did. He threw a ton of picks, but
not a new Jameis Winston stat line, I should say.
Hey, that
LASIK
was
eyes, Jameis.
LASIK Jameis. Let's put that on a t-shirt.
God.
That was going to be one of the picks of the weeks I talked about. It was just such a blowout. Before we go any further, I don't need to explain my pick anymore. How bad were did we overthink the Packers? We were saying this was a contending team.
Is Aaron Rodgers done already? Is he quitting on this team week 1?
Is that his thing? He's going to sabotage this team as last year. Say, I'm going out with you guys aren't going to win one game.
Jordan Love stuck on this. I'm out.
Yeah, like that's pretty bad.
That was one of the worst I've ever seen him at.
And he was like, it might have been because he hasn't played a preseason. I don't think he played any preseason games. He looked rusty, dude. He missed in the red zone. It was like probably on the 12. I was going back and forth. He missed Devontae Adams on a slant, wide open, and that was the pick. He threw off his back shoulder, tried to jump.
Too busy running around in Hawaii with his famous friends to play some football.
Yeah, I don't know. He's trying to be the Jeopardy host, man.
There you go. He's got his head in the clouds. He's not focused.
Oh, that was bad. That was awful. I somehow am winning this league that I started Aaron Rodgers, but I'm losing another league that I started Tom Brady. Go figure that one out. Thank you, Derrick Henry. So let's move on. Speaking of fantasy football, let's move on to our waiver pickups of the week. I'm gonna go with a guy that it's a nice stash pick. I'm going with Elijah Mitchell. He's rostered in 1.9% of fantasy leagues in ESPN. He's the running back for the 49ers. Mostert's out for I think at least 5 or 6 weeks. 8
saw
weeks.
8.
Even better. Sermon, who knows what's up with him? He's injured. And this kid actually out of nowhere had a good day. He ran the ball 19 times for 104 yards and a touchdown. I couldn't tell you who else is another running back on that team, so I'd pick him up. Kid threw, and it was like consistent. Like he ran the ball 19 times. That's like a pretty consistent.
It's pretty good.
That's a workload. So 100 yards, touchdown. Put him on your bench. Don't start him, but put him on your bench. See what happens.
Stash him. See what happens.
Yeah.
I'm going Zach to Zach. I'm going Zach Pascal.
I like it.
2.4 rostered. It's going to be the same kind of thing. Toss him on your bench. See what kind of happens as the year goes on. Definitely not a immediate start, but 4 receptions, 43 yards, gets you 8 points right there. And then he added 2 touchdowns. So he had a pretty good 20-point stat line. But yeah, I mean, wide receiver is going to be a crapshoot all year. Some guys are going to have big days. Some guys are going to have bad days. Guys are going to get hurt. So I think after a decent week 1, it's worth a shot at Zach.
Little update on the BRZ league, because I know everyone's anxious to hear that. I got a close one going down to the wire with Dave Griffin going into week 1. I'm done, I think. No, who do I have going? I have Justin Tucker and Josh. Here's a question for you, Danny Football. I need some advice here, man. I don't know what to do here. And this, I mean, we can cut this out if this is bad advice, but that you give me. But do I start Josh Jacobs tonight, or do I do Kenyon Drake? Josh Jacobs.
I'd go Josh Jacobs.
He's been listed as questionable with an illness, but he's on track to play today. Non-COVID related. It's close, man. It's a 50-50 call. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if you get into it, if he plays. I'm hoping. This is what I hope happens. I hope they just say he's out, rule him out for tonight, and then I just play Kenyon Drake, and I know he's going to get a lot of carries.
Damn. No, go Kenyon Drake. Yeah, might as well.
So?
If he's, he's a safer bet.
Well, that's the other thing. Dave Griffin has that the Ravens running back, Williams or whatever, and Darren Waller. So I'm winning by a point. So I'd
lean more towards the sure thing.
I don't know. That's a close one. Jared looks like he's gonna pull out a win on Andy. Oh, he already did. He beat Andy. Rob with an impressive week 1 win over the Jack Moran.
You gotta imagine you're gonna be hearing about that one.
I'm gonna put that right in I'm gonna take a screenshot of it and send it in the group me.
Aaron buried me under 10 feet of dirt.
Yeah, Aaron Gollop, huh? Who did he have?
Russ? He had Russ, CMC, Gaskin, Cooper, Gronk,
Cooper,
AJ Brown.
Cooper.
He just put me in the belt.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, man? Take it and let's take it and move on, I guess. So I don't know. Rob and Aaron look like the heavy favorites right now going out of week 1.
We'll see what happens.
So let's move on. I hate to end the show. Well, we're not going to end it on this segment. We're going to end it on people's topic. So we're going to go into a little bit of negative here. Boston Red Sox here. Day Football. What are we going to do with this team? Last week, they're 2-3. We talked about how they had to get their wins against the White Sox. They had to win that series. They didn't win the series. They're still holding on to the second wild card spot. They gave up second place in the division in the first wild card spot to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Still up on the Yankees. Let's get a game update here. They are still a game up on the Yankees. They are, are they tied? They must be. No, they're tied with the second with Toronto. They just Toronto has 1 less loss, so I think they're a little ahead. But what do we got to do, man? Like I mean, it's more of the same. We got to start putting together some series wins here. But I don't know, man. I'm starting to.
So I will say this: they are getting all their COVID guys back. Martin Perez is going to be back. Matt Burns is going to be back. They're getting their COVID guys back.
That's true.
They're still treading water. Unfortunately, the Woo Sox can only do so much. With their, Caleb Ort's up there. They have Aruz up there. They had Jack Lopez. They had all my guys up there. They're doing their best they can. They still have the second wild card spot. We're still in the hunt. The Yankees are doing everything they can to give us this spot, so we have to take it. They're losing games upon games upon games. They finally cooled off. We got here in the notes, huge 3-game series against the Mariners. That's winnable. Go in there, get our wins from the Mariners, get out. Because then we have the Orioles, and that should be guaranteed sweep. Guaranteed sweep. You cannot drop any to the O's. So if we can get through these next 2 series in the positive, in the red, good to go. I don't see why we can't get into that wild card game and be hosting it at Fenway Park.
Right. I think like we said, Seattle's a big one because they're only 3 games out of the wild card. You lose 3 games, now they're all of a sudden right in it.
They're right in it too.
So close the door, take their heart, knock them out of the playoffs. Then I don't want to look too far. Then you get the O's, like we said, you got to sweep them. Like you have to go in with some confidence, get some steam going, and then we'll talk about it next week. Probably you got a 3-game series against the Yankees at home.
That's gonna be the same thing. You either let them back in or you close the door.
That's for the wild card spot right there. That's
you have the opportunity to kill 2 of the guys chasing you while also beating up on the worst team in the goddamn division. So this is going to be, it's a big stretch. It's a big stretch. You're getting your guys back. Your prospects are getting plenty of time. They're there to fill in. So if we're going to have our full complementary of weapons, now's the time to go out.
That was like a hype up video you just had, Dave.
Let's ride, baby. Let's ride.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is the COVID guys. We lost a ton of guys. Chris Sale just went out last week. It's tough, but I think you're right. I think as we start to get these guys back, we got 2 series that we got to win, and then load up for the Yankee series, and then let's go in on the high note. I think you play the Orioles again at the end of the season. Yeah, you play. So you're playing the Orioles twice. You have 2 3-game series with the Orioles.
Very winnable games. You got to win. You have to win the games. You have to win, and that's the Orioles. You can't be dropping games to the Orioles.
They have to win a minimum of 5 out of 6 of those games. They got to win. They got to sweep a series, and then you can afford to give up a game because let's face it, sweeping twice against a team, even the Orioles, is tough. But you got to win 5 out of 6.
Agree.
Just touching on real quick because it was last week. It was like at the end of last week, I think. We had 2. It's actually been 2 of them. 2 Hall of Fame ceremonies in the last week or so.
Good point.
Good to see. I think Jeter got voted in a couple last week, and then we got to see our man Paul Pierce get a couple days ago. Just a shout out to them. I just want to give a shout out to them because it's good to see Paul Pierce and start seeing some of our Celtic guys getting nominated, put into the Hall of Fame. And this is also a nice reminder that Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Kurt Schilling should all be in the Hall of Fame.
Dude, I got into a heated argument with a guy at I was in line to get into the Woo Sox game, and a guy behind me heard me and my buddy Kevin talking about how Big Papi is he a first ballot? Is he not? And the guy just randomly, he's not going to get in. So I turn around. I'm like, excuse me? So me and him got into it. Me and him got into like a huge, do the steroid guys deserve to be in? And then he brought up Pete Rose. And then, so I got into it with that guy.
Don't get me started.
That was a fun conversation to have before the game started.
Was he a non-Hall of Fame Pete Rose guy?
He was like, no steroid guys, no Pete Rose. It's about the integrity of the game. I'm like, it's about the statistics, my man. That's all it is. That's all it's about is statistics. Who hit the most home runs, who has the most hits. That's all people care about. I'm sure you're rooting on Big Mac when he was breaking the single season record. So don't talk to me about that stuff.
Right.
So that guy's a boomer. He's trying to kill the game. Fuck him.
And the funny thing is, Pete Rose didn't do any of that. Pete Rose just gambled. He liked to gamble a little bit.
His whole thing was just the integrity of the game, which was insane to me. But regardless.
And really, Pete Rose, he bet for his team. This is just jumping down
I know. No, believe me. So we probably got about 3 or 4 minutes in, and then they started letting people into the park. So I was like, you got fucking lucky on this one, my man.
Yeah. Pete Rose bet on his team to win. He didn't. It's not like he was betting on his team to lose. He wasn't betting on the under and pulling on the reins a little bit.
Fucking insane.
And it also was as a player. He was Hall of Fame. Dave Griffin's also a non. I think we might have convinced him in the time he came on, but he was a non-Pete Rose Hall of Fame guy. He said yes to Barry Bonds, no to Pete Rose, which is even
all these old hats have to hit the bricks.
Unbelievable. Well, Kurt Schilling already said, take me off the ballot. I don't care. I'll just get in my way. I don't really care. And Barry Bonds, you have the guy who had the most home runs in all of baseball out. They're not going to make the Hall of Fame. And mark my words, both A-Rod and David Ortiz next year will be first ballot Hall
Oh,
of
I'm
Famers.
sure. Poppy's getting in. That guy's out of his mind.
And A-Rod has done enough damage control with the MLB Network to get in.
1000%.
A-Rod was one of the worst steroid.
He got suspended. He actually served a suspension. David Ortiz was never in any sort of trouble for anything.
Well, I'm just talking about, David Ortiz. I don't get, like, he was on a list, but it wasn't like confirmed. It was never tested positive.
There were a million other names on the list, and I told the guy that too. I'm like, dude, half the league was on the fucking Mitchell report. So why you're singling out David Ortiz? Are you shitting me?
And I'm just talking about Barry Bonds compared to A-Rod. Like, there's no difference between the two. Only that Barry Bonds hit way more home runs.
Right. And one decided to work for ESPN, and the other did not.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a can of worms that I don't want to get worked up on this Monday afternoon. We'll get worked up next year when they don't let them in.
Yeah. All right, let's slam a positive piece of bread.
Yeah, let's get positive. Let's 2 years. Let's get positive for a second. Let's go with the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby. People's topic.
So people's topic. Remember, you can write in on our Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Make sure you give us a follow. We take questions each week. This week, number 1, we all know who it's going to be.
Say it.
Joseph_Celia.
There it is.
He writes, touching on the little NBA here. I like it. Bold predictions for the upcoming NBA season.
Bold prediction.
Celtics win the NBA title. No.
Suns run it back and win the title.
What's a bold prediction? I think, you know what? I'll go with it. I think I don't think they win it, but I think the Celtics have a good chance of making the NBA Finals.
Oh, I'd pencil them for a possible conference final run.
I mean, we went through it a couple weeks ago. Like, if they can get the 4 seed, I think they have a real shot to make it to the conference finals, if not the NBA Finals. Do I think they'll win it? No. I'm a realist. I'm realistic enough to admit that we're not good enough to beat the Lakers, Suns, insert
Celtics and Suns, baby. We got this.
Run it back with your prediction again.
Back.
That was your prediction last year.
Slam it down.
Teddy Football is just a year ahead of his time. That's all. Right. I think that's a good prediction. Should I make something different? I should probably come up with something different. I don't know. I like the Celtics making the NBA Finals. I think
that's all right. Stick with it. Now it's out there.
Yeah, it's out there. Put it out there in the universe. I think another possible. Who is it? I had another one. That's all right. Stick with the Celtics. That's it. We'll just do Joseph_Celia for today.
He earned it.
He's done it. We got to do a compilation video. I think you're right. I think we need to have a whole video of all his questions. So thank you again to all our guests, all our listeners, Danny Football, producer John, all that have helped out, all the BRZ crew, and especially the listeners. Thank you for listening for the last 2 years and following us.
You guys did it. Thank you all. Goddamn.
Yeah, this is
standing O.
This one's for you. You're the real MVP. That, like I said, thank you very much. Thanks, Danny Football, for helping and all your help with the pod. This is it. Have a great week, everyone.